Welcome home, everybody. We are at Shakers, and we are talking about things in the post-COVID vacation days. We have a new world in front of us, and I thought it might be appropriate to have a conversation with some of our staff at Shakers to talk about how this pandemic has affected each and every one of us. And these are the real-life gritty stories from us after a staff meeting. Who wants to begin?
Ladies first.
Yeah, take it away.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's been an interesting time. I find it very frustrating that a lot of our staff is not getting unemployment. They've filed, but they can't get through. I've watched some article, news clip, that someone had called 800 times in one day and only talked to someone 9 times during those 800 calls. That's unbelievable. And Milwaukee hasn't updated their technology since the first recession, and that's why they're so backed up. But the fact that so many people have families and we're shut down, there's no source of income. I think it's just ridiculous, and I feel really bad for everyone during this time.
Mm-hmm.
We've all gone from a significant reduction in revenue, certainly for our sales at Shakers, but for each of you who are, as a very important part of the services industry, are dependent upon tips, and you've gone from rather significant tips here down to nothing. That has to have a great impact upon every part of your lives.
Yeah, I filed for unemployment the first week of the shutdown, and I haven't gotten a single penny. I didn't get any of the stimulus check. I've been unemployed for about 3 months now.
Why didn't you get the stimulus check?
Because my parents claim me as dependent.
Even though you live on your own and everything.
On my own, yeah, and
college student.
I have all my own student loans, and it's because I'm under my parents' insurance still, so I'm still dependent. And I've been unemployed for 3 months and had to move back home because I couldn't afford my rent after 1 month, which sucked.
Yeah, same story. No check, no unemployment, just living out my savings. Applied to a few jobs at a warehouse, but
Nothing? You didn't hear back? Really?
No.
I would think that, there's grocery stores are hiring and stuff like that, but I also heard that they turned down a lot of people, which I don't understand. I don't know.
It's also labor costs. They can't afford to take on too many new people.
I think I'm one of the lucky ones here that has other form of employment and working in healthcare as a CNA. I'm grateful for that, but it's definitely been a big mental and physical change on me. In order to make the money that I made here, I have to work more hours there to make less money, which is kind of upsetting because it is healthcare, and I am taking care of the elderly who are the most susceptible to this whole virus, and I'm still making less, or I have to work more hours. I've been working 16-hour shifts, 12-hour shifts, multiple times a week. So like I said, I'm grateful to have an income, but it's definitely been a lifestyle change for me. And just emotionally as well, I really do love our customers. I love our regulars, and I love my coworkers. It sounds cheesy and stuff, but I really do. And I don't have that social aspect anymore, which I obviously can't get at the nursing home. But it's definitely been frustrating.
And not to mention, your health is at risk too.
Yeah,
because,
and
you were saying about your mask.
Yeah, we get 2 disposable masks. We got 2 disposable masks at the beginning of the lockdown, and they said we're supposed to make them last as long as possible. And now we're getting 1 cheap disposable mask a week. So there's times where I wear it's 70 hours, 1 mask. We keep it in a paper bag. And people have donated cloth masks and stuff, and we're not allowed to use them. So that doesn't really make sense to me. And they don't really care about our risk. They only care about the elderly's risk, which I guess makes sense in a way. But we're really just kind of workhorses for this pandemic. So it's kind of frustrating. But, yeah.
Yeah, same story. I tried contacting unemployment, but it's just been a nightmare.
And especially because you live in Illinois too. That's
Yeah,
difficult.
well, I did as much as I could online, and then they told me to call, so I did the same thing where it was 8 zillion hours of being on hold, and then I just eventually gave up. But I do think it's forced everyone to be kind of creative in their income. I think a lot of people are getting into hobbies and weird little niches that they haven't tapped into before.
Crafting.
Yeah, no, seriously. And I mean, on the positive end of that, I do think that with all of this, it's certainly a testament to how close-knit the service industry is nationwide, but especially in Milwaukee. It's been really cool to see how much support, not only from our customers, people are supporting local everywhere, but just with the service industry as a whole, and how many things have been implemented. And it's just a really fun thing to see, especially because of that kind of emotional withdrawal and like that social withdrawal that I'm feeling. It's nice to, I don't know, it feels warm. It's nice. I'm proud to be in it.
Shout out to the donation
Yes.
from our regulars. Right? No, it was cool that I had a few of our regulars reach out to me and like figure out, like, they're like, Lori, like, I want to support you, like, if there's any art you're willing to sell, like, I'd be like open to buying it, which is really, really nice.
Yeah, I've been trying to market my work more. It's like the one good thing is that I have had time at home to work on some like art projects that I've set aside for several months, because like going towards my thesis with school, there's a lot of projects that I'm like, all right, this is on the back burner. And then with everything shutting down, my thesis actually got put on the back burner, and after spending 10 months working towards one goal, I had to throw that project away and completely start over because I had no access to all the things I was working on. So like that was definitely frustrating. In the same boat with unemployment, I had tried to apply like that first week, like that March 17th when the bars were shut down for Milwaukee. I was like, all right, gonna get on there right away, but I have an out-of-state ID because I grew up in St. Louis and I'm here as a student. And so I couldn't even fill out a profile without calling, but can't either, like I try to call and the lines are busy and it just goes like hangs up on you, or there's one day even that I was on hold for about 4 hours and then it disconnected. And I was like, it's just so frustrating. But like, I mean, I get it. There's a big demand where a lot of people need help right now. I am fortunate enough I was able to get the stimulus check, and that helped me balance out some of the income that I needed to take care of as far as bills and everything. Still have a lot to take care of, but you know, coming graduate, all those student debts starting to call in for those loans, but it is frozen right now, thankfully, because otherwise they're like I give it another couple months before they're like, all right, so where's our money? You know, I know for me, I think the hardest part through all this, apart from like the social, like you said, like I'm a very social person, so like working in the service industry, I love coming to work and being with all you guys and being with our regulars and like forming that like human connection, and not be able to do that is really hard. But like not be able to kind of like get that interaction. But also like I'm up here for school, so all of my family is hundreds of miles away, and like some of my family members are high risk, so like being so far away and not being able to like help them or make sure they're okay has been really difficult during all this. But
I think like with what Alex was saying too, though, even though there's so many like negatives and crappy situations, it's really cool, like she said, to see the community come together, but also to see what everyone's doing with their extra like forced free time now. Like it's cool to see what hobbies people are diving into, what people are finding creative ways to spend their time in a positive way. And it's right here in Shakers, it's really cool to see all the renovations and fine tuning going on. I'm really excited to open back up and have people see that, because we've put a lot of work into it, and it's an old, beautiful building, and I think we're restoring it in a great way to bring light to those minute details that otherwise a lot of people just look over. So I'm super excited to see that like come to life with people in it, like it should be, not an empty building. Right. But
one of the great frustrations that we have, because Breanna and I hear almost all the time, is that the phone is constantly ringing where people are asking, are we open? Can we stop in? Can we get this? Unfortunately, you can't, which is a bigger problem, because in the state of Wisconsin, especially after last week when the governor has been overruled by the Supreme Court, most of the state is open for business. Milwaukee County is open for business. The city of Milwaukee is not. So there's a huge influx of Chicago people, which really has been our bread and butter for 30-odd years. They can't come here. So the frustrations continue forward because there is no end date in mind for Milwaukee. We have a number of corporate parties we had to cancel. Certainly our tour business is just destroyed right now. 3 months without that, and we've refunded money, and we try to move some people into other things, but obviously they have different schedules too, so we can't accommodate that. That's just lost for good. We've moved some of the theme dinners as well. The next is on June 20th. That's a Father's Day dinner, which will take place hell or high water, and that will be a rooftop event. But even that is going to be a bit of a challenge to get that moving forward because we haven't had the opportunity to set the upstairs and to utilize that. Of course, the weather has not been our fan either, or our friend of ours. So our deck is outside waiting for attention. And one fine day soon, we all hope that we can go back to business as usual. But in the meantime, it's not just us that are suffering. We are, but it's many other people. Everybody is impacted by this. So I'd have to think that there's going to be a big ramp up as well, that once we are open, there's still going to be this time when people are not accustomed to coming out and at least being as spendy as they have been in the past.
Yeah.
They can't afford to be.
Either
Right.
they can't afford it, or like, there's those people that do have the money and have saved up, or are happy to go out. But to Bob's point, when the governor or when the Supreme Court shut down, the governors, whatever, that thing. There we go. Blinked out. We got so many calls that day, like people from Chicago asking if they could come up because they're like, Chicago's still shut down. Like, can we come up? And we really want to come to Shakers. And like, no, unfortunately, we can only do takeout still. Like, we're not open like everyone else. So many people have been wanting to go on the tours, and people are starting to book the tours too, which is really exciting. For later dates hopefully when we do open in June at some point. So it is nice and exciting to see that people want to come back and are, very eager. Yeah.
Well, there's the other side of that equation as well, as we experienced last week Friday, where we had Lori outside selling wine. We had customers that had come by and purchased cigars. We're sitting outside, which you legally can do is to sit outside anywhere you want to and smoke cigars. And people just waiting, and people waiting for carry out as well, which again is legal for us to do. And a local establishment a block away from us, the black something or other sheepishly, called the police to complain about us. So the units had to roll up. They did.
The cops rolled up.
Cops rolled up and filed a report on us for being here, even though we legally can be here. So though there is the better part of the service industry that's communing together to help to uplift some things, there are some very jealous other owners of businesses that are not clearly doing well, as no one is right now, and they are, as opposed to trying to work together to bring more people into an area to create a positive vibe, they just want to find a way to demean somebody else's operation. So as good as there are some things that are coming out, and you might find more things in yourself that are positive, there are certainly a lot of negative elements, or just people walking by that are pissed off that as we're working on the project, we don't have a mask on. So, even Dr. Fauci last week came out and said you don't have to wear a mask. It's not as effective as we originally thought it was going to be. So as long as you have the scientific community, the medical community that is at odds with itself, how do we know what to do? But still, if you want to wear a mask, God bless you. And I've talked about this before. The Restaurant Association at one point mandated that for anybody coming in, once we're open again, they had to have a mask on. Well, as I pointed out to them, that doesn't work when people are here to have dinner or cocktails. How do you have a mask on at all times? How do you say you must keep that mask on? It just doesn't make sense, right? So there's a lot of parts of this that need to be reworked and tuned, and common sense really has to prevail about much of this. And if you want to wear a mask, wear a mask. You want to stay at home, stay at home. But I think to have people that are out in the world, especially those that still are employed, to be demeaning us because we're not wearing masks as we're working on the project is silly. So, human nature has to find the better part of itself to work as a community as opposed to trying to rip things apart.
I've had people comment well, it's just a bartending job. It's not a career. So why is it so important that you open up? It's just a bar. And it's okay, but that's someone's means of income, and it's someone else wants to be there to support that, to eat there, to drink there. That's someone's desire. That's some people might classify it as a need. Some people can't cook, so they literally need.
Well, and throughout the course of human history, there's an awful lot of very important decisions, determinations, business deals, contracts, marriages that take place via bars and restaurants. So it has been intrinsic to our life since the beginning. We've had some means of getting together and communing with each other. We are not designed to be insular and just sitting by ourselves in our apartment. We are designed to be social animals, and we need to get out and socialize. So.
Yeah, I mean, like when I first saw like the news article being like Supreme Court like overruled Wisconsin's safer-at-home order. When I first saw that, I was like, oh, that's scary. Like I'm nervous. I feel like everyone's gonna get sick. But like then again, like it's to the point where like we need to open up because like I mean like speaking as an individual, like I can't like live up. Like I can't like be supported by my parents any longer. I'm like lucky enough to have that for me, but like my parents like they're looking for me to like get out of the house because they can't like afford to have me just sticking around as much as I have anyway. And, like, it's scary, like, oh, like, my parents like, I'm nervous for you to go back and be in a bar and, like, serving someone. And I'm like, but, like, what else can I do at this point, you know?
And there's no matter what you do or where you go, there's always going to be some sort of risk. Because there's never going to be a complete shutdown. People are going to need things. People are going to need the store, need gas, need whatever. Healthcare workers, there's obviously all these absolutely essential people. So there can never be a full shutdown, and unless there's like a definite cure found, it's never gonna disappear. So the only thing is to just be smart about it, be proactive about it, but you can't stick inside forever waiting on the what if someone figures this out, because they may never, and if they do, there'll be a new strain. That's how viruses work. Think about the flu. There's how many strains of the flu virus? You know, you get a flu shot every year, but you could still get flu every year, and a lot of people do, so it's like, it's kind of inevitable at this point.
Risk is inherent to life.
Yeah. Not to mention, like the people are like the whole point of quarantine is to quarantine people who are susceptible to this. You know, why do we have to suffer through all this just because they should stay at home?
Right.
It's a tease. I do think that there's a lot of truth coming out, though, in many aspects of our country. And I think as this dissipates, however quickly or slowly that might be, a lot of inevitable truths are really going to come to the front for us to be seeing. I mean, I think that the service industry is irrevocably essential to not only the economy, but just to people, like you were saying, in general. I mean, since the beginning of time, like ancient cultures, what are they doing? We are social creatures by nature. People are really having a hard time with the fact that bars aren't open. And so when people make stupid comments to service industry workers.
And like how many people come here and don't even touch alcohol because people are like, it's just about booze. No, it's not. Like so many of our people come here for the food. Some of them just literally come here for the atmosphere.
Yeah.
You know?
We don't have TVs here either.
Right.
That's Bob's whole,
right. We literally come here to gather, to enjoy
the experience,
the atmosphere, the people around you. And so when people are like, it's just like a bunch of alcoholics, like, no, it's not just about alcohol. Like, obviously, yes, we indulge in spirits and we have a lot of finer spirits here, but we also, like, are here for each other. It's not just about alcohol. Like, if we took away alcohol, people would still come here. No matter what, people are going to come here because they love it here and they love us and they love being together in a place like this.
It's okay, I smoke a cigarette.
We're back after the break, and if we can, let's talk for a moment about what your feelings are about coming back to work, which hopefully will be soon, after the last, in essence, 3 months of a shutdown kind of a thing. So what concerns do you have, and what fears do you have, and where do we go from here?
I guess initial concern is like, I know like the need to open up is there, like the need to make an income and pay bills, like definitely like I went from working 4 to 5 days a week to not really working at all, and that really like as like full-time student and everything else, I have a big move at the end of the summer and like trying to save up for things, so like there's all those things that are kind of put on hold, and like there's a big fear there. But I guess a big concern would be also maintaining staying safe, which I know that we will. Like a lot of the procedures and things that we need to basically enforce, and in order to like prevent any spread of any, like anything unnecessary, as well as like keep the place clean and sanitized. Those are all standard bar procedures. Words that like we're really good at doing that here already. So it'll just be kind of like upkeep and maybe doing it like one extra time than we normally already do type thing. So like that I know we'll all still stay safe. I don't know why I can't speak today. But I guess another concern, like there is that worry that like I know there's a lot of people cooped up. We've got all those calls. A lot of people want to come back. We know we have all these like our regular guests and like a lot of friends at the house that want to be back here and want to talk with us and want to like have dinner here again and enjoy a night. But also there's that percentage of people that they may still be very susceptible to all this. And the virus isn't just going to go away because we're going back to work. Like that's not how illnesses work. There's still going to be that risk of a second wave or anything else coming. So there will be some people that maybe don't come back to us, and like I'll be sad to miss them, as well as, you know, like just their company and everything else. So there's that concern, I guess, as far as like there's really no going back to how things were before. So it's just figuring out how to proceed forward, still keeping true to ourselves, keeping true to like the authenticity of the space and the environment that we provide here, as well as still just keeping everyone healthy and safe. Because like at the end of the day, yes, this is a business. Yes, we all work here and we all need to make an income, but we also care about our guests and we don't want to put them at risk. So like finding that balance is really my biggest concern, and kind of like I'm eager to go back to work, but also like I don't want to like make a mistake that would hurt somebody else. You know?
And I think I'm excited, but like hesitantly excited. For a couple of reasons. First of all, no matter how much we do, you can't fix stupid. So you don't know who's going to walk through our door, who has been reckless on their own accord. So no matter how much we do on our side, it's also dependent for like people to do their part. But we can't demand anyone to do anything because everyone's their own person. So we're just kind of banking on them doing the right and proper things. And we can try and push for that as much as possible in our own establishment, but who knows what they're doing at home, who knows what they're doing outside of these doors. And I think that's the scary part, because no matter what we do on our side, we can't control what they do. So that's kind of a thing that causes some hesitance. But also another worry of mine is that with the capacity restrictions, so even when we get back to work, we're not going to have the numbers allowed in here that we had before. So our income isn't going to be the full income still. But then everyone still won't be getting added aid, but will still be suffering pay cuts in a way from tips and everything. If there's only 50 people here instead of 100 or whatever, they're not going to make up all the extra sales and tips of those people, because we have to follow like restrictions and guidelines, but we're still going to be negatively impacted even when we can get back to work. So I think that's another hard thing to face as well, because we'll be open, but we won't be fully open. So we'll still feel the effects of it monetarily as well.
Right.
After months of having
nothing. Right.
Well, I mean, I'm curious to see how things play out with our economy in the following months, because we really have no idea, you know.
Right.
If it gets bad enough, there is going to have to be some intervention.
Intervention.
From you. Yeah.
It's like a virus. It's spreading.
That's the one, you know. But I don't know. I don't have concerns, but my only, issue, I guess, it's not really an issue, but we're kind of just setting sail into pretty uncharted waters.
You know,
like
that first open day that we're gonna have, I am almost terrified for it, because like I have no idea what to expect.
unknown.
That very first day when people come in, people are gonna be scared. I'm gonna be scared. We also want it to be normal, but it's not gonna be normal, you know. And like, who's gonna come into the bar, and like how many people are gonna come into the bar is completely like a mystery. And like you never know, like, is it going to be, like, back to normal, like, everyone coming in and, like, or is it going to be, like, we can't, like, we have to, like, shut people away from the door? Like, we'll see regulars at the door and be like, we're at capacity. I'm sorry you can't come in, you know?
Well, I mean, it's not exclusive to this establishment. Like,
Right.
everyone is going to be doing this at the same time. So.
Right.
I think another thing that I am grateful for, though, is that I work at an establishment that has its roots planted so deep, because I know so many businesses that are new or starting out or don't have a big clientele base, they won't ever recover from this.
Right.
They'll never be able to reopen.
This place is already announced they're not opening after this.
Right,
Like, they're
but
permanently shut.
we're here, and our clientele is, we have a niche that we fit very well, and people will always come here for that. So I'm really lucky that I work in an establishment like this, where we know we can weather this storm and come back in whatever capacity we're allowed to, but we'll be here, which is, I think, exciting for us and our patrons because, like I said, so many places like will never open again. They just won't be able to. But I'm excited that we are like here and we're here to stay.
And we have Bob, who's been in the business for 30 years, so he can change with the times just like that.
Like 75 because he's so old.
Just like. But, we're talking about people that, have their own responsibility as well. And I make this analogy a lot the last week. It's like you meet a woman in a bar, and she says, I broke up about a month ago with my relationship, and I had STD tests. I'm completely clean. Well, that might have been a month ago, but in the process, she might have been entertaining a bartender somewhere else or something else or whatever might have taken place. And you don't know if she is as clean today or he's as clean today as they were a month ago, and they got that. It's the same thing with the testing for COVID. So when they had the test, they were completely clean at that point, right?
So you gotta check bi-weekly.
Oh, daily. Everyone won't tell us more, Alex, but daily. Depends on your social schedule, I'd imagine, but that's a different chapter. So, you have to take precautions for yourself. You have to be aware at all times. You hope that the people that you serve here are also aware of that. And I would think that, to some degree, it's almost like we're Christopher Columbus and crew, that we're leaving Europe and we're going across this ocean for 3 months, and now we're landing here, and we have a system for how government works and how social strata works and whatever else, but we're going to be in a new world. It's a new landscape for everything. And as much as you want it to be like it was over there, it will never be like that again. Might get better at some point, but there will be a transitional period that we have to go through.
All new muscle memory.
Right.
Yep.
It's kind of crazy to think that this will be like in textbooks though, and we like
Right?
lived through it.
I
You
see
know?
my
So-
stimulus check. I'm gonna be your grandparent.
I'm a history nerd. I love history. Like going through school, part of my degree is studying specifically art history and like documenting it and remembering it and knowing how important it is. And like there's always that back of your mind, you're like, wow, like these people were so powerful. It's like they like lived through this amazing moment. They lived through this really hard time. Like what did they think? What were their thoughts to go through this really hard time? And now here we are globally.
And you're like,
Globally going through something, and I'm like, wow, I regret ever wanting something really impactful to happen
because it's
happening and
There it
it's
is, yeah.
scary.
Yeah.
Like it's like on one stand of it, like yeah, we're gonna come out of this, but not everyone comes out of this. There's already been so much loss, so like it's a bittersweet, like trying to, I guess, cope with what's lost and accept what's new, but like trying to keep the mindset of just keep moving forward. Like we're all individuals, we all have our own lives, but we all like being in the service industry, all our lives overlap. So like there's always going to be that thing that connects us that we have to like work through together, and kind of reopening whenever that is will definitely be like a test to that, like how not just our individual business here, but like just the Milwaukee area or the entire state, the entire country, the entire world, as we slowly get back to like, because we can't get back, like we said, but like as we slowly move towards that future, there's going to be a lot of unknown, and years from now we'll look back at this and be like, wow, we lived through that. Like that's baffling.
It's almost like World War II. So if you think about that, that generation 80 years ago had extreme deprivations. They had no gas, they had no fuel, they had no food, they had no anything, right? So for the 4 years that took place during the war, we had virtually nothing in this country, and it was much worse in Europe, much worse than a lot of places. And people persevere, they find a way. So this has only been 3 months of our lives. Hopefully it will end soon. But compared to what's taken place throughout civilization, this is a blip. So
Yeah, I saw an interesting commercial the other day where it started with showing a bunch of babies being born during this. And it cut to an older lady who said she was 100 years old from the 1920s when the influenza breakout came, and she was just saying, I was born during that, I survived, we can do the same.
I mean, I do think that we've come to a point globally, but especially nationally, where we have veered so far off the path of what it means to truly be a human being and to exist. And this just kind of came at a time where people, I think, more than ever before in history, have succumbed so much to this kind of really surface level, very technologically infused lifestyle that really, and we're stressed out, we're more stressed out than we've ever been, we're more unhealthy than we've ever been. And why, right? Mm-hmm. Because we are so removed from each other, because that connection has become almost non-existent in so many situations. And because of everything with this pandemic, I think people are really forced to be isolated and on their own and really withdrawn from interacting. And in, you know, having to deal with that, we're realizing, like, oh shit, you know, like, I'm sorry, I'm allowed to swear.
Well, it's done. Can't take it back
God.
now.
No, it's really cool to, because like you were saying, like, you just want to have that human connection, and you're realizing, like, oh my gosh, like, this is really what matters in my life. Mm-hmm. You know, this is what the purpose of life is. Like, this, you know, everything around you is falling apart, and you're like, but whoa, this is,
right,
you know, what I'm here for.
And I think you can learn
Totally.
what you can live without easily.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, I don't even notice I'm
Exactly.
missing that, but then you
Yeah.
notice what you really miss, you know? So like so many things that you do all the time, they were just motions, and then you're like, wow, I don't even need that aspect in my life. And I think it also caused a lot of self-reflection for a lot of people, because they had no choice but to like stare themselves in the mirror, you know? And hopefully growth comes from that for a lot of
Right.
people.
Like even just coming back into Shakers after like 3 months and like training to like be prepared to have customers and like understanding like what kind of health procedures we need to follow to like have a safe industry. Like even just being back here for like an hour and like being with my old coworkers and drinking with all of you guys again, like it's like wow, like this was like the best part of my week. Like
It's crazy how much I feel like I took this atmosphere for granted, because I did have another job that I worked a lot more hours at than here. And like when I was just working that job, I was miserable, like miserable. First of all, because it's like a very hard job to work, but second of all, I was like, wow, like even like all the annoyances we have with each other, because we all fight and bicker, like
We're human.
yeah, we bicker all the time. It's a
Brothers and
high stress
sisters.
area. Ronnie and I like hate each other half the time, but it's great. But it's like I even miss our like arguments, like our stupid arguments over what kind of glass or who washed that. You know, like it's just like I miss every aspect of it, and like it's just like it's not just a bar. You know, it's
who closed last
it's not
night?
just a bar. It's not just work. Like we are a family. We're like a little fucked
Little
up tribe
unit.
of misfits, I guess, in the best way, you know?
Wouldn't you argue that that's humans as a whole,
Right.
right?
It's healthy.
Yeah. You know, who wants to be normal, whatever.
What is normal?
Well, right. But no, I just think that there's going to be a really universal shift coming out of this. And that might be my little like bruja speaking, but I truly think that this is really going to alter people's perspectives with everything. You know, very spiritual components, but also, you know, like economic. What is money? You know, capitalism. Yeah, no. All this, for real. And it's just,
And just
I'm
appreciating people around you.
gratitude in every single
Every
facet
aspect,
of your life.
mhm.
Every single facet. Even what you're saying with your family, you're realizing, oh my gosh, like just even being, my mom and I, you know, we meet up in like a Costco parking lot in Pleasant Prairie like once a week. And it's just like not even being able to hug my own mom, you know, because she has a lot of asthma issues and things that make her really susceptible. So it's just like, I don't know, when we're coming out of this, even like our customers, it's just going to be a really, I'm looking forward to what this is going to be in terms of our worlds and how people are living their lives. I think it's going to be really cool to see, for sure.
Yeah, well,
Well, there we are. I appreciate everything that you've done. We have a phenomenal staff here. We got great clients here as well. We got a cool little vibe going on. So let's keep it moving, and soon enough we'll be back in business. Cheers.